AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.
The hardest working channel in show business, nigga.
Listen, man.
The hardest working channel in show business, nigga.
He said, boss, I'm tired. I'm tired, boss.
I'm tired, boss. I'm tired.
Right. Flea, what up, my brother? How you doing this morning?
What up, baby? What up? Happy Saturday to everybody. What's good?
Yeah, listen. Fabian, once again, forgets to change from AllBall reaction. He will be fine. We treating this thing like James Brown. Yeah. We fine, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Right. I'm annoyed, Flea, this morning. First and foremost, good to see my brother always.
Yes, sir.
Big shout to chat. Get y'all asses up. Get y'all asses in the building. Let's not act like y'all don't know what this is. When y'all see those notifications, it's the greatest trio right now in the YouTube space. So act like you know. But Flea, I'm annoyed, right? I'm annoyed because two teams is ruining my life at this point. One is the Houston Rockets. You know I can't stand the Lakers and LeBron. We'll talk about that another day. But God damn it, the Orlando Magic, Flea. I'm going to say it again. God damn it, the Orlando Magic have allowed the Detroit Pistons to climb back from 3-1. And now, yeah, you heard the noise.
They did it. We did.
Yeah, you heard the noise. Niggas don't want the pockets touched. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. There we go. Yeah.
That nigga don't want them pockets touched.
Nigga don't be wanting the pockets touched. Yo.
That nigga said, find me? Find me? Yeah, right. Nigga said, yeah, right. Find me. I need my money.
That's right.
I need my money. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Yo, Flea, before we, get into Detroit, y'all see the thumbnail. Detroit, are they back, right? Number one, are they back to being that team that guys like Stephen A. Smith is terrified of? The same team that everybody regular season said you have to go through them, including them saying that. Before we get to that, just real briefly, how disappointed are you in the Orlando Magic in all seriousness? You don't have to stay and talk about this for no 2-3 minutes, but just give me 30 seconds to maybe a minute on how disappointed you are in the Orlando Magic.
Extremely disappointed, man. Because, like, from a basketball perspective, you want to see a team put a team away, especially if they're up and they've kind of, quote unquote, figured them out in a playoff series. And going up 3-1, you think that team figured out the Detroit Pistons, right? The Detroit Pistons were a physical team this year. They were the best team in the conference, by far, especially record-wise. They put a lot of people on notice that they wasn't playing around. And so we got to the playoffs, and by the blink of an eye, they was down 3-1. And so now we think, okay, they're not ready. Okay, they played with Orlando. Orlando is playing at a higher level than a normal 8th seed. But the last couple of games, they've shown that there's a reason why they were in the play-in. There's a reason why they were at the bottom of the conference. There's a reason why they struggled all season. Now, they had injuries, but at this point, fuck the injuries. Like, win a series. Win the series. Win closeout games. Go out there and finish your breakfast. And they haven't done that. And now we turn around and it's a tied series 3-3 going back to Detroit. And Detroit has, grabbed the stranglehold of the series again. They got the momentum now. They got the confidence. They've realized that Orlando is playing with a great opportunity, and they allowed Detroit to get back off the mat. So it was just very disappointing to see how they played down the stretch of that game last night. Historic shooting performance. I go back to, and you'll remember this really good, OG. I go back to Western Conference semifinals, Western Conference finals, Game 6, Game 7, Houston, Golden State, when they missed 27 threes in a row.
That was James Harden. Yeah, insane.
Yeah, and completely take themselves out of that series when they had a huge opportunity to win that series. That brings me back there, right? Not knowing when to go away from shooting the perimeter shot and saying, hey, let's shut the water off a little bit. Let's get a good shot. Let's get to the free throw line. Because they was even missing free throws, OG. They get to the free throw line and miss free throws, you know? So
yeah,
they completely took their hands off the wheel with this series, and now it's a tie series, and it's NCAA tournament style. One game and you're done. Who's gonna win? So I don't see Orlando winning. I don't. Not in Game 7 in Detroit. I don't see it.
Fleet, that was a great comparison with that Houston Rockets debacle. I remember that like the back of my hand. It was just almost like it's like, yo, are you going to keep shooting, right? And we know we hear that saying, shoot or shoot, but at some point it's like, yo, it's not a game, it's a series, right? And this is the playoffs, right? So that just brought back memories, right? And before we get back to glazing the Pistons, right? Because you got to give them props, even though it drives me crazy. Listen, to be down 3-1, to have an elimination game on the road, and now you're going Game 7 at home, you got to give them props. But just real brief, going back to Game 5 with the Orlando Magic, when they took one of Detroit's best punches and then cut the lead to 2, right? And you still find a way to lose that game. And then now you have Game 6. And then remember, Fleet, we gave y'all the benefit of the doubt. Okay, you say, you know what? We're in Detroit. Let them have that, right? We got Game 6 at home, and you lay your egg like that. Fleet, you're 100% correct. I'm very disappointed in Orlando Magic to the point where Jokic said something the other day, and I want to compare, because you just said F the injuries. And let's bring up a team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. No Ant-Man, no DiVincenzo. One of my favorite players now to watch is Jaden McDaniels. I love his mindset.
Move over. Find me some room on the couch next to you, because I want to watch him when he's on TV. I'm going to watch him. So when that brother, OG will be back with us in a second. When that brother is on TV, I'm glad he said that. When Jaden McDaniels is on TV, sign me up going forward. We're not saying he's must-see TV, but just how he approaches the game, his attitude, and all that, you know, all that confidence, and how he plays. He's not a bum. He's not a bum. So move over. I was just telling the people that just find some room on the couch for me when Jaden McDaniels is on TV, because just his attitude, OG, his approach, his mindset, all of that really rallied that team, man. Achilles injury to Dante, who's been a starter all season long. Ant-Man hyperextended, got a bone bruise now in his knee. He's going to be out for weeks. And you take down the mighty Joker in Denver. Gobert plays his ass off. Julius steps up. No Ayu can't hear you. Can't hear you. No Ayu, right? After he's, you know, since being traded to Minnesota, has completely put on for that team, right? That was a valiant effort from the Minnesota Timberwolves to be able to advance in that series, man. They could have packed it in. They could have said the season is over. They could have said, yo, it's time to get ready for vacation. It's time to get ready for next season. They could have had a bunch of different mindsets on how to play. They got Mike Conley.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can't see you, though. Mike Conley playing solid minutes, coming in, contributing. So, you know, that's a big shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves for not, you know, packing it in, not feeling like the season is over, when basically three of their main guys who they've relied on down the stretch of the season and throughout the first part of that first half of that first round series they relied on went down. They didn't pack it in. So I'm very, very, very excited for the Minnesota Timberwolves and how they show up against the San Antonio Spurs. But yeah, going back to last night. Okay, OG is back.
Yeah, I had it on Do Not Disturb. I don't even know how I call bust through the phone. That shit got me tight.
They called twice. They said, "Oh, word? No, I need
I'm
to
good
talk
though.
to you."
Audio and visual is good.
Audio's good. Visuals good. You good?
Yeah.
You exfoliated this morning. You washed your face. You look good. You look good.
Listen,
you look rested. You look rested. You look good.
No, I'm actually not rested. Like I told you last night,
Okay.
annoyed me. But
Okay.
my point I was trying to make before I got rudely interrupted, right?
You was going somewhere. Denver. You said Denver, Minnesota
right,
winning.
Right. You were saying Orlando, screw all the excuses, all the injuries, get the job done. And I watched the Minnesota Timberwolves get the job done. Right. I watched Jay McDaniels and all those guys say, no, we want this. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And remember what Jay McDaniels said about the Denver Nuggets about a week ago. They can't defend. They're weak. Go at them.
Start naming them, OG. Start naming them by names. Start running the list.
And Flea, when you watched that game the other day, that's exactly what they did. I'm attacking all of y'all, right? So when you look at the Orlando Magic, who for 2 games had the perfect blueprint up against the Detroit Pistons, how do you go against that and not close out the series? So now it takes me to, you watch a McDaniels, right? And you look at that crew and they go, we want it. Then you look at Orlando, you look at Ben Carroll and them guys, and you just watch them all shrink. And now we go Flea. Do you niggas care? Did y'all really want it? Because you had an opportunity to close this series out in 5 games. So, Flea, you're 100% correct. I'm so disappointed in Orlando Magic because they didn't just, one, just drop the ball, but 2, they stopped themselves from making history. It's very rare that you get a playing team to beat a juggernaut like Detroit. Now, I don't believe Detroit is a juggernaut, but from the basketball world and what they did in the regular season, you can't ignore. Right, 60-game win season. K, the legit MVP, the rid of them guys, probably gonna be all NBA defense, right? Multiple all-stars. They're gonna have probably 2 players all NBA, right? First team, second team. They probably gonna have 3, 4 guys all NBA defense, right? So to be able to knock that team out in 5 games and not be able to do it, it goes now to our thumbnail and our title. Flea, I have to ask you, because they starting to get on your nerves like they get on mine. Now we can't hear enough of the
love them
Pistons
niggas, but
fans.
we can't stand them niggas. Rob
Lord
Diggy is
have
here.
mercy.
Rob Diggy, what up, Rob?
Flea, Lord have mercy if these niggas come back from 3-1 and win this series.
Oh my God.
We are not gonna hear the end of this, right?
Insufferable.
We are one of the platforms that keep it 100% thorough, and we give props when props is due. Did the Detroit Pistons get their mojo back? Are they back in the driver's seat as being the best team in the Eastern Conference after coming down 3-1 and now forcing a Game 7 at home against Orlando when it looked like they was dead in the mud?
I thought that they were. I thought the moment started to get a little too big for them. I thought being down in the series, right? I remember I came up here a couple of weeks back and actually all year long, and I was questioning, well, when there's some adversity, how is Detroit going to respond?
Right.
When they are down in a series, how are they going to respond? When they're on the road in an elimination game, how are they going to respond? And for me, last night, everybody kind of stepped up when necessary, right? There was guys that was out of the game. JB Bickerstaff had to go with his bench, right? He had to rely heavily on getting back into that game with having some guys on the floor that aren't starters, right? He had to rely on a long stretch. I talk shit about Dennis Jenkins, but he had Dennis Jenkins in that game for a long stretch. When we talk about, everybody was saying, well, why we don't have Paul Reed in the game? He let Paul Reed play some down the stretch. So it was a great effort by the Pistons to crawl back into that game. I obviously feel like the Magic choked, right? The moment was huge. You up 20 at halftime in a closeout game. All you got to do is finish out the last 24 minutes of the game. do everything that you can to win, not lose, and they did everything that they could to lose that game. Right? Again, Detroit stepped up. Their superstar level player, their MVP candidate, their guy that has led them all season, led them last night and brought them right back into the game. When there's a steady diet of Cade Cunningham taking tough mid-range shots, getting to the rim, and the defense is collapsing on him, when he's turning the ball over at a high rate, like that ain't the recipe for winning. But he went right back to what he was doing all season long, which was getting other guys involved, picking his spots. I just thought down the stretch he was super poised. They didn't look like they started panicking. I was looking at Bickerstaff. He didn't look like he was panicking. And so that lets you know the type of basketball team that the Detroit Pistons are right now. That was my question. When you guys have some adversity, what's going to happen? How are you going to respond? And the Pistons are responding right now. The Pistons are absolutely responding right now. They've made it a series again. It's 3-3. It's a one-game series, and it's on their home floor. And so I don't have any faith in the Orlando Magic being able to muster up the energy and the fight, really, because it looked like they laid down yesterday. For them to start taking 30-foot threes. Did y'all see some of the threes that Desmond Bane was taking? Some of the ill-advised shots that Jalen Suggs was taking. I felt like Suggs just shot them out of the game. Jalen Suggs is not a great three-point shooter. He was improving, but again, some of the decision-making down the stretch, some of those shot selections was just poor. And it was just gift wrapping the game for the Detroit Pistons to get back in this game, man. So you got to give them a ton of credit. Obviously, the Orlando Magic, that was a huge choke job, but you got to give the Pistons credit for realizing that season is on the line. We got to do everything that we got to do to be able to get back in this series and have a chance to advance. And they're gonna get Orlando out of here. I have no faith in Orlando being able to advance back in Detroit with all that pressure on them. So now that means Banchero has to come through and play at a level that I don't know if he's ready for. Big shout out to Tukes Gabriel 7393. Y'all keep it so thorough, it's admirable. Of course, I hate the Knicks and it's 313 forever, but this is the best sports channel on the internet. Man, my brother, thank you so much, man. That's super humbling, super humbling, especially coming from a Detroit fan. We've created a huge rivalry with you guys this year, and so for y'all to still be tapped in and rocking with us, we appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Brooklyn point guard, big shout out to you, man. Thank you for your $5. Salute, fellas. Yeah, McDaniels is a real nigga for that. For that, then he back up everything he said. That's a fact, man. He talked it. As soon as he was able to perform, he performed. So that was super dope, man. Super dope. Slick, what up? Good morning to everybody. Trapped in the 90s, what up? Junami, what up? Family is here. MJ, what up? Rob Diggy. Family is here. Saddleberry, what up, y'all? 313 Elbow. Mr. Pierce, what's good? Jermaine Harris, my guy, Brooklyn Finest. Peace, everybody. Brandon Boyd, what up? Oh, I miss my girl, Darlene B. What up, the Queen? What up, y'all? What up? Peace to everybody. Oh, my girl is up early. La
Yo,
B.
You can hear me?
I can hear you, can't see you though.
All right, we want because it knocked me out. I thought Fabian or somebody may have done that, but yeah, it just knocked me out.
Here we go. All right, you back.
All right, yeah. Yeah. Big shout out to the chat, man. Y'all know in the mornings, wake up all ball. Yeah, you know, with no Wi-Fi on the phones, you know, you got to bear with us with the technical difficulties. But yeah, Flea, man, you broke that down beautifully and made a great point. And for me, I have to be honest, even though I'm not a Detroit Pistons fan, we created a healthy beef. And I got so much respect for the Pistons fans, especially the ones that's in our chat that support and show love. Because
That's a
listen,
fact.
man, it's
That's a fact.
difficult when you have beef with the other team, the other
It's
city.
real
Just like
smoke.
right now,
It's real
right.
smoke.
So,
Right, it's real
but
smoke. Yeah.
Free, I have to be honest. Detroit's got their mojo back. Detroit is back in the driver's seat. Now, it's two different conversations. I don't think they're the best team in the East playing the best basketball. You know who I think that is, right? But by them being clearly the best team in the East in the regular season, right? By them having a legit MVP candidate, by them having the best defense in the NBA, I do think they are back in the driver's seat. And that game 6 showed tears. It showed the difference between superstars, stars, all stars, and guys that are looking to be that. Kay Cunningham showed Ben Caro, you put up 45, I could put up 45. He showed the other day, listen, bro, you ain't on my level. And that's the difference. And that's what makes the Detroit Pistons back in the driver's seat. As much as it irks me to say that, as much as it hurts my stomach, right? We got to keep it real. That defense, when it's at its best, is top tier. And when Kay Cunningham is scoring, as Flea said, 5 levels, 3 levels, right? When he could knock down a 3-point shot, when he's knocking down the mid range, when he has you on the post and he's hitting fadeaways, when he's getting
Oh,
to the basket, right?
oh.
When he's knocking down his free throws, and then when he's getting got like when Cade is doing that,
Getting guys in foul trouble. Like it's just
yes,
yeah.
yes. So Flea, when he's doing that, and then you bag that up, you bundle that up with that defense. Listen, they are back in the driver's seat. And that's why I said the Orlando Magic dropped the ball. Because now what you did was you gave the Pistons more confidence than what they already had.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be honest, the playoffs, it separates guns and butter. It separates guys, Flea. This is why New York loved Brunson so much, and now I see why Detroit is so high on Cade. Because of moments like this, on the road, elimination game. Nah, we got the best player on the court right now. We're gonna put the ball in his hands and take us home. So yeah, Flea, I have to be honest. They are in the driver's seat, and I gotta ask you this. How more dangerous does it make the Pistons that now they got their mojo back and now they have even more confidence? And think about this, Flea. Sometimes as a player, you don't think you could take your game to that level. But now Kate,
Until it's crown.
right, Flea, how dangerous is Cade in the Pistons now that he had that 45-point game? Right? You ducked elimination. And then now you see what it is when you that guy. How much dangerous does it makes the Detroit Pistons now moving forward? If you're a team in the East, a la Knicks or whoever else they're gonna play.
Look, OG, you always quoting me about what I'm always talking about with steps. This is part of the progression. This is part of the steps. You lose a series last year against the New York Knicks, where some people had you favored in that series. Some
Right.
people had you favored. Granted, not fully healthy. No Isaiah Stewart, a young Duran. Cade Cunningham, first opportunity to really lead them. They take their lumps and they lose at home. They lose the series at home. So they remember that. Let's not act like they don't remember a year ago. A year ago yesterday was that crossover snatchback, drop a sword to the ground, 3-ball at the top of the key from Brunson to seal the series. That was a year ago yesterday, right? So they remember that. They remember that. That's part of the steps. So now you come in this shit, 60 wins, put everybody on notice. We are for real. We are for real. We not one of these, poo putts. We for
Right.
real.
Right.
Get into a series now. Adversity, another step. How are we gonna respond being down in the series? There's no way that they should win this series where Cade was being historic from a turnover perspective. He started this series not taking care of the ball at all. They're not supposed to win a series like that, but they finding a way to win a series where Cade could not take care of the basketball. They're finding a way to win a series where Jalen Duran is not showing up with the way Detroit faithfuls thought he was going to show up. Way we thought he was going to show up as an all-star this year, right? They in a situation now. JB Bickerstaff, how are you going to coach? How are you going? You got this mantra on you where you're not a playoff coach. Yeah, you could be a regular season guy, Cleveland, Detroit, but can you coach in a play? All of these things, and they answering the bell. They answering the bell right now. So they got to finish the job. Job not finished. Big shout out to my guy Kobe Bryant. Job not finished. You got to win Game 7. But everything about this Pistons team, like they kind of growing up right before our eyes. One year after year, they just really growing up. So it's dope to watch from a basketball perspective that a team that won 14 games a couple of years ago. To now being a 60-win team, that turnaround and that progression, that's dope.
Detroit showed that, having something to play for matters. Having that pressure to play for matters. Fleet, is it possible that this first round against Orlando, Detroit may have had a little jitters and then they shook it off? Right? Because they are a totally different ball club these last 2 games than the first 4 games that they played, right? The second game, of course, they lost the first game. The second game, they smacked Orlando, right? And then, games 3 and 4, it was like, hold up, and now they are just a totally different ball club. So moving forward, if this is the Pistons that we're going to get, you brought up JB and the Cleveland Cavaliers. We now see last night Toronto pushed that series to 7 games, right? Big shout out RJ Barrett, former Knick. I love to see that he's doing well. He hit the game winner last night in overtime to now make this
another wild ass shot.
Right. One of those in Toronto. Remember, Kawhi did the same thing. Right, that rim.
Halliburton just hit a shot like that against the first.
Remember, Ben Caro hit one of those back of the rim. Remember, went all the way up, drop, right?
There you go, OG. What up, Ray?
What up, Ray? What up, Ray? I know he in the building. Fleet, Cleveland or Toronto? I have to get your opinion on this. Should Detroit be worried about any of those teams moving forward if they finish the job and beat Orlando? What matchup do you think is best for the Detroit Pistons, and what matchup you think is bad for the Detroit Pistons between this Cleveland and Toronto Raptors series?
Well, I'll say this. I would like to see Detroit Cleveland, only because I think that's a better matchup. I think it would be a better series. I'm still rooting against Detroit. Let's not act like we fans of them. Like we competitive. We like good basketball. So I think Cleveland can be the most competitive. So I would like to see Cleveland with them in the next round so they can beat their ass. But I think the better matchup, if I'm a Pistons fan, I probably want to see the Raptors. I would probably want to see them, right? Because I don't know if they know how good they really are yet. I don't know if they really understand that they really like another team that's kind of growing up. I don't know if that core is going to be together for very long. I don't know how long they could do Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, and RJ Barrett. But they're a playoff team. They pushed it to a 7-game series. So I don't see how they don't understand that they're a legit team. Right. But Cleveland is big. Cleveland can shoot. Cleveland has a bench. Cleveland has 2 dynamic guards. Like, I think it will be a handful for Detroit. Detroit could win that series, but I think it will be a handful for Detroit to compete with Cleveland. Cleveland can match everything that Detroit can throw at them. I don't know if Toronto. I feel like Toronto will be overwhelmed with how Detroit comes at people in waves, especially when Detroit locks in on defense, starts turning you over, starts pushing the basketball, Cade getting everybody involved, Duncan Robinson start hitting shots, that shit gets contagious. I don't know if Toronto could withstand something like that from Detroit. Cleveland allowed Toronto to stay in this series because, as always, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, they have no shows in the playoffs. And this has been consistent. They're both of their entire careers. They're good playoff players, but they will lay eggs throughout the playoffs. They are not consistent playoff players. Donovan Mitchell's never been to an Eastern Conference Finals, and James Harden ain't been back to the finals since almost this week, getting close to 15 years. 2012, a long time ago, right? So I think Cleveland would be a tougher matchup, but I think Detroit wants the Raptors, right? I think that's a series that they will probably think that they're more favored in, that they may have the advantage. They kind of doing it by committee over there. They don't have a primary ball handler. Jamal Sheed, big shout out to him. He played down here at University of Houston. He's a good guard. I like what he's doing over there for them. But that's a lot of responsibility for him. A lot of responsibility. So I don't know. I think if you asking me who the tougher matchup is, I think Cleveland would be the tougher matchup. Who I think Detroit wants, I think they want the Raptors.
Big shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Y'all know how we feel about y'all. Love y'all. Please hit that like button, share, like, subscribe. Y'all see the Cash App, ABTV3. Hit that Cash App, y'all, ABTV3. Y'all see the Instagram channel, AllBall TV 3_, but hit that Cash App, y'all, ABTV3. Super duper big shout out to the members. Please let us know why y'all are not members. Hit that like button. If you ain't a member, respectful. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel.
Nostalgic Nick, what up?
Nostalgic, what up? I can't see the chat, so big shout out to everybody in the chat. Flea, I'm gonna go total opposite. If I'm Detroit,
what you got?
If I'm Detroit, I want to play Cleveland just for the reason you just said. Mitchell ain't never been out the second round. We know James Harden can lay 2-3 eggs. And let's be for real, Cleveland is soft. Durin and them will eat Jared Allen and them up for lunch, bro. Isaiah Stewart and them, with Mobley and them, bro, they will eat them dudes for lunch. Bro, so if I'm Detroit, I want Cleveland. I'm going to tell you my opinion why Toronto is a bad matchup for the Detroit Pistons. They're like the Orlando Magic. They ain't got nothing to lose. And they got everything to gain. If the Toronto Raptors play against the Detroit Pistons, Flea, I think, let's not forget, Ingram is a dog. Ingram is a dog. He ain't going to back down, right? RJ Barrett has a lot to prove. And Scotty Barnes, listen, he's a mismatch for players. Now, I'm not a huge Scotty Barnes fan. Remember, we talked about him. He belongs here, right? So for me,
jump out, jump back in because we lost your video.
All right.
Yeah, we lost your video. OG gonna jump out and jump back in. We'll read this super chat from our guy Aaron. Big shout out to Aaron B4R for your 1999. I think Orlando, from a physical standpoint, was a great matchup for Detroit, and we had to figure that out. I don't think Cleveland or Toronto could bring the same physicality as Orlando did, and Harden and Mitch don't play D. Hey, listen, Aaron, big shout out to Aaron. You always showing us love, bro. I fully agree. I fully agree with that statement. The physicality of your team can be overwhelming at times, especially when guys are just focused on being physical. So I fully agree with you, Aaron, that those teams lack the physicality. But again, as we go further and further along in the playoffs, teams are supposed to get better and flaws continue to get exposed, right? So you'll continue to expose your opponent. And as if we're talking from a Pistons perspective, you guys got to continue to get better. And whatever that means is who's going to be the second consistent guy that you're going to be able to look to. Because don't think that was the last 5 for 18 night or whatever it was when Cade had a tough night. Don't think that that's the last time that we're going to see Cade Cunningham struggle from the floor. Coach's game plan for him. He's at the top of the scouting report. You guys don't have many guys that you can go to that can go get you 25 on a consistent basis. So the scouting report is very, very easy to game plan for the Detroit Pistons from a defensive perspective. Not saying that y'all are not gonna bring it. It's just very, very easy to game plan because you kind of know how you guys are gonna attack. So when Tobias Harris does have a big game, it throws the whole shit left because it's like, oh shit, how did that happen? I want to address that real quick. Mr. Pierce, did we have a consistent second option in 2004? My brother, that's over 20 years ago. The game of basketball is different. There are always anomalies in everything out there. So, like, that's y'all did that as a committee that year. Y'all not going to be able to do that when the rubber meets the road this year. You're just not. Y'all not good enough for that. That Pistons team, I'm going to give it to you. That Pistons team, from a defensive perspective, suffocated you. We're talking about holding you under 90 points, holding you to 85 points, that Pistons team. This Pistons team, from a defensive perspective, is not even close to 2004. Y'all look great. Y'all look great from a defensive perspective, but not even close to that 2004 team. So I understand what you're saying, but the way this game is played today, the type of firepower that you need going down the stretch, especially in the playoffs, they don't have it. They don't have it. So I'll be curious to see who steps up for them, but they don't have it. So I just wanted to address that. Like,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I would love to briefly respond to that as well. Like, Pistons fans really need to realize this team this season is nowhere near as good as that 2014. This team this season would get swept by that Lakers team. It wouldn't even be close. And you have to realize there's no Ben Wallace on this team. There's no Rip Hamilton. There's no Big Shot Billups on this team. There's no Tayshaun Prince on this team. Like, we have to really understand how good that team was. And let's not forget that coach, Flea. Right? So we gotta slow down, just like when y'all tell us. You gotta slow down. Yeah, that's all good. Flea. We leave like this because this happened with me and Fabian before. We'll leave it like this. So yeah, as long as you can hear me, we good. So yeah.
Yep.
Me, Flea, just to finish my point, I think Toronto is the more dangerous team because, like I said, I think a lot of those players have a lot to prove. Guys want more contracts, more money, and what better way to prove it than to go up against the Detroit Pistons, right? I think Cleveland, those guys are settled in with who they are, Flea. Those guys are soft. They have guys that's, like you said, going to continue to lay an egg. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Cleveland is whoever they play, right? They better hope they beat Toronto. But yeah, if I'm the Detroit Pistons, I'm in your words, I'm chomping, I'm biting, I'm licking my chops to play the Cleveland Cavaliers because history tells it. Listen, Donovan Mitchell ain't been out the second round. James Harden, listen, any given moment he could just clock out, right? And Jared Allen and Mobley, as good as those guys are defensively, nobody is scared of them. Nobody's afraid of them, right? So for me, I just think Toronto is a team that you can't sleep on, just like the Orlando Magic. They have scoring. They have some guys that's tough, that's a little gritty. And of course, it's going to be a huge task, right? But if I'm Detroit, give me the old lion that still think he got some fight. I don't want the young lion that ain't never been in a fight and he don't know how strong and great he is until he get up against me. Now, I don't want to deal with that right now. So if I'm Detroit, give me Cleveland because I already know what to expect from them. That shit is James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. After that, we ain't even got to worry about them other dudes. So that's just my opinion on that, Flea.
Yeah, I think to wrap up that conversation with Detroit, I still say I take Toronto in the second round. I think, to be honest, I think that could be a quick series. They could get them out of here.
Yeah. Either way, I agree.
especially if they come in with confidence. Oh, we got out the first round. That's our first uh playoff series win since 2008, right? That gives you confidence. So now you're going into the next series where like whoever's in front of us, we don't care. Now we've figured out how to win. It's something to be said for teams once the team figures out how to win. It's like you could put that in your pocket and go back to that every time you run into adversity. Oh shit, we in a 2-2 series now. The series is tied. We going on the road. We got to win a game on the road or in game 5 or come back to the crib and win in game 5. Excuse me. Like, how do we muster up the energy to do that? This series right here is teaching Detroit. This series right here is probably more of a lesson for Detroit than last year, losing to us in the first round. Yeah, they were a lot younger. This year is like there's expectations. And then you get down, you have some adversity, and now you really figure out what it takes to win a playoff series. I think they'll take a lot of experience and a lot of know-how from this series than they did last year, losing in the first round.
Yeah, I just think, like you said, last point for the 5th time, which I love these topics, and it's hard to, just let it go, pause. But I just think, Toronto, I think they're better coached than Orlando. I think their guys are smarter at basketball and more disciplined. I just think, you rightfully, this series is no middle. It's no gray area. It's either can go very bad or very good, right? And you're 100% correct. They can either sweep the Toronto Raptors and get them out of here early, or Toronto can stun them if they look at the game plan and see how Detroit did get exposed in this Orlando Magic series. But remember, Flea, we kind of getting ahead of ourselves because the job isn't done, right?
Nah, job not done. Not done. Marcus Blackman, what up?
But there is a team that got the job done. It's our Knicks, right?
Yes, sir.
And as we patiently wait for game 7, the winner of that between Boston and Philly, let's just briefly talk about the Knicks for a few, Flea, as we wait to see who we're going to play in the semi-conference finals in the second round. Before we get to, who would we rather play, because we could probably talk about it the same way we just broke down with Detroit, who we rather play versus, who we think is the bigger threat. Flea, watching this Atlanta Hawks series, who's the most important player to have us representing the East in the NBA Finals if they can play well throughout the series, throughout the playoffs right now? Give me that one important player in your mind for the Knicks.
Well, I mean, from what I've seen now, for me, it's got to be Karl-Anthony Towns. We was concerned about Cat all season long. The inconsistencies, the scoring average was really low. The shooting percentages was not up to par. Things like that. I think Cat is absolutely the most important guy for us. We figured out a way that we can put Cat in a point center position and have him orchestrate the offense, have him make most of the decisions to create offense for other guys. He's a hell of a passer. Obviously, we know he's an elite rebounder. He's an elite shooter. Like all of these things, and now he's guarding the rim, right? I've never seen him play defense the way he played to close out the series a couple nights ago. Beating shit at the rim, like being the low man, having active hands in the passing lanes, getting deflections, all that type of shit. Cat was doing all of that. And so for me, he's got to continue to do that. Because that puts us in a position where we're a tough cover. People don't have the film and the game plan and the strategy to go up against. Damn, the ball's gonna be in Karl-Anthony Towns' hands for most of the time. When we understand that Brunson is the guy that is normally the primary ball handler, the distributor, the decision maker, all of that, we've gone away from that. There's still some moments of that, but we've gone away from that because we figured out, hey, Karl-Anthony Towns cannot be guarded at the top of the key when he's looking over defenses and making a move, whether that's dribble, passing, or shooting. So I think for me, it's Cat. Cat has to continue to be phenomenal in these playoffs for the Knicks to be, dominant and have a chance.
Flea, I'm gonna surprise everybody with my answer. And what you just said, you're not wrong, right? It's our opinion, but you made a great argument for Karl-Anthony Towns, right? But it's weird that none of us is going to say Jalen Brunson, right? And we all know, if you ask any Knicks fan, if you ask any basketball person, you know, who's the most important player moving forward, going forward with the Knicks for them to be successful, I guarantee you 99.999 is going to say Jalen Brunson, right? But I'm going to give y'all a name that you at least expect. And he got his name back. It's no longer Todd Bridges. Flea, I think the most important player right now for us is Mikal Bridges. And the reason why I say that is, you're not wrong about Cat, but Cat is consistent. We know what we're going to get from him. So I'm not really worried about him, right? We know what we're going to get from Brunson. OG has turned into one of the best consistent players, not only for the Knicks, but in the playoffs. Mikal Bridges, Flea, we said this the other day on Knicks Rehab. If you can get 12 to 16 points from him on a consistent basis, and he can play some good defense, he is the difference maker. What he did in game 6 against Atlanta, Flea, if he does that after the All-Star break, we are the number 2 or the number 1 seed. If he does that for the whole Atlanta series, Flea, we sweep them. He is very important. You cannot have a shooting guard that don't shoot, right? We've never heard of that. We've heard of shooting guards that can't shoot. We've heard of shooting guards that can't defend, but to be both. So I really think if Mikal Bridges, can use this Atlanta Hawks series, especially game 6, and get his confidence back, get his stroke back, getting shooting back, and we can get him to play defense like he played in that Boston series, I'm going to be honest, Flea, I think he's the most important, because everybody else is on a consistent basis. They do what they got to do. We know what we're going to get from Josh Hart. We know what we're going to get from OG 9 times out of 10. We know Brunson and Cat, even the bench. We do not know what we're going to get from Mikal Bridges. And Flea, it's almost like with the rabbit, you dangle the carrot in front of him, and you don't like. That's what we get from Mikal Bridges every night. So for me, I think the most important player going forward right now is Mikal Bridges. Please, Flea, 30 seconds. If Mikal Bridges can play like he played the other night, which I think is impossible for any player to play at their highest level night in and night out. But if we could get 50 to 60% of that, what difference does that make us as a basketball team?
Huge difference, right? Because right now, OG Anunoby was the most consistent player in the first round of the playoffs, right? We really watching OG's offensive game just go to another level. Right. Catching the ball in triple threat, not even wasting no dribbles, just sizing up his defender and rising right over the top and knocking shots down. So, like, we're watching him grow. We're watching Karl-Anthony Towns take on a new role right before our eyes. We're watching Jalen Brunson adjust his game right before our eyes. We're watching Josh Hart now become one of our best on-ball defenders. You see the work that he did in the Atlanta series. Like, all of these guys are just stepping up and rising to the occasion as the playoffs come. Stuff that, for me, not everybody else, I'm talking about me, I didn't know if we were going to be able to do this. Literally flip a switch and kind of change how we approach. So that brings me to Mikal Bridges. Bridges, what are you going to do to change from what you've been doing down the stretch of the season to start this first round series? Everybody has done something a little different. All 4 of our starters. You got to be the next guy to do a little something different and do that on a consistent basis. So last game, the closeout game against the Hawks, he was very confident. He was shooting with confidence. He was going to the basket. I think that's something that's going to be big for him, is actually going to the rim, being aggressive at the rim. He was fucking around on the rim, layups, little shit with English. Like, he was doing all kinds of stuff. Do that. That infuses confidence, man. Do that. The fadeaway threes, the fadeaway shits from the baseline, all of that, that ain't nothing. That ain't going to just build it. Doing that, that's how you build confidence. So I really like that Mikal Bridges is getting his mojo back and getting back in the swing of things. He's definitely going to be an X factor going forward for us. And And so if he can rise to the level and do something different, like I said, like the other guys are doing, we're going to be fine.
Fleet, before we run, just give me one answer. Don't explain why, because we giving them too much. We explain later on today. Second round, semi-conference finals, our Knicks. We are waiting for the winner of Game 7 tonight, Philly versus Boston. Who's most dangerous? Who would you rather play? Just one answer.
I would rather play Boston.
That's it. Chat, it's a miracle. Me and Flea agree on something.
To end the show, we agree on something.
I 100% agree. I'd rather play Boston. Chat, we'll discuss that a little more this afternoon. Y'all know we got the hate watch party tonight. We definitely watching tonight, Game 7, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Philadelphia 76ers on the road up against the Boston Celtics. Game 7, we are watching a hate watch party. Make sure y'all tune in. And also, we're going to have an update with, what's our guy? Jason Tatum. They're trying to play it off like he's not really injured. We may discuss that a little bit this afternoon. Look forward to me in the afternoon about 3 o'clock. We discuss some of that. But hate watch party tonight, y'all. Flea, do we have any cash apps you want to read before we get out of here, or we do that later?
I can't see the cash apps, but I did read all our super chats.
All right.
Big shout out to the chat.
Well, not the cash app. Is there any more super chats we need to read before we run?
No. I think I touched on everything. So big shout out to everybody in the chat. Everybody that contributed to the super chat, everybody that contributed to the conversation this morning. You with us will wake up with all ball. OG, any final words before we jump out of here?
No, just y'all know the Cash App ABTV3. Just love the support that y'all give us. And like I said, we be here this afternoon, discuss a little more. But tonight, hate watch party. We need y'all to tune in. Y'all already know. Engage, get in them comment sections. Hit that like button, share, like, subscribe. Tonight, y'all, 7:30, hate watch party. Game 7, Philly versus Boston. Everybody have a great Saturday. See y'all later on.
Enjoy y'all Saturday, man. We'll see y'all soon.
AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
Deja un like, comentario.
Y suscribe.